Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare-certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
They're polite. They just take the time for you.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible.
I like the Angels for what they've done for me.
Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.
Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Hello and welcome again to Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for watching, and thanks as always to the producer of our series, Jeff Durall. We're at the Robbins Center, upstairs, second floor, in the Fort Hays State Foundation, with the president and CEO of the Fort Hays Foundation, Jason Williby, as we visit about the new director of the foundation. About a week now, I guess, Jason, is that right?
Just over a week, yeah, July 1st.
So why did you want to be the next president and CEO of the foundation, Jason?
It's my dream job, Mike. I'm a Fort Hays alum, married a hometown girl, and so Hays is really our second home. Mm-hmm. And having watched all of the great things that Dr. Hammond did, followed by the energy of President Martin, every Christmas when we would leave Hays to go back to Kansas City, we'd talk about whether or not we'd ever come back to Hays. And I told my wife, there's only one job in Hays, Kansas that I think I would want to do. And when this job came available, we were excited to have the opportunity.
Well, and a Kansas boy too, grew up in Oberlin, right?
Oberlin, Kansas, on a farm about 8 miles south of town. So proud to be the son of a family farmer and youngest of 7 kids. So I think I learned my work ethic from my father, mm-hmm. and still get back to Oberlin a little bit, but we really consider Hays our home now. Our
parents still have the farm?
Family still has it, mm-hmm. So it's nice to be able to drive through the farm when we're home.
What gave you the idea that you would be a good fit for the foundation?
Well, I've done this kind of work before. When I left Fort Hays, I went to work with the American Red Cross. Mm-hmm. I raised money for house fires, hurricanes, winter storms, you name it at the Red Cross.
Anything the Red Cross responds to.
Anything basically. They respond to. And for 12 years, I really traveled the country out of Kansas City and spent a lot of time at hurricanes, mm-hmm. tornadoes, and that's a different kind of fundraising. That's really emergencies mm-hmm. and tragedy. And to be able to come back to Fort Hays and raise money for new students, the future of our country, brand new buildings, talented professors. It feels really good to be in this environment.
This kind of thing can create quite a lasting legacy for students, buildings, all of the things that make up Fort Hays a great university, Jason.
Absolutely. The foundation is a separate legal entity from the university, but our sole purpose is to be the fundraising arm of the university. And with the cuts to state funding, that's not going to change, not in the near future. As the university receives less money from the state, they need more private support. Mm-hmm. And it's our job to make sure that we're asking people to dig deep into their hearts and provide additional support to Fort Hays and its students right now when they need it the most.
Well, early on, you have a background, of course, at Fort Hays State University with the foundation. Tell us about some of the highlights, maybe, of your career so far.
Well, I've been here about 4 years, learning from Tim Chapman, mm-hmm. and he set the foundation on an amazing course, and as successful as this institution's ever been. Mm-hmm. But highlights for me, working with students, getting to watch them grow up from their freshman year to their senior year is really spectacular experience. And then to work with donors and see just the generosity mm-hmm. of the Hays community and the Fort Hays nation, awe-inspiring. I tell you 2 stories that really motivated me. There's a commissioned officer of the United States Marines who is, in May, had graduated 1 year ago. He came back to watch a friend graduate. He was in a fraternity. He came and asked if he could name a space in his new fraternity house that'll be built on campus. So here is a 23, 24-year-old young man. His first job is his paycheck from Uncle Sam. He's making an $80 gift every month for a $5,000 pledge. That is spectacular. And he knows he wouldn't have been able to go to college without scholarships. So he wanted to give back to people that he felt gave to him. And then just I think everybody hears about our big press conferences. We'll have we'll invite you to Sheridan Hall. We'll have a press conference. We'll announce $1 million donor. And those people are making a great impact at Fort Hays. But more often it's a middle-class family. We're sitting at their kitchen table. They're deciding how Fort Hays figures into their estate plans and their annual giving. So they're sending a gift at Christmas or in the fall when the tiger callers ring them up. But when they decide to make an estate gift and they decide where they want a lasting legacy to be at Fort Hays, it's amazing. I've sat at some very humble homes where people said, I don't have much, but what I have I want to give to Fort Hays. And when you hear that, you have a great appreciation for how lucky we are to do this job.
And you could expand that not only from Ellis County, but worldwide now with the alums throughout the world of Fort Hays State.
Absolutely. Our team travels from Connecticut to Florida, Texas to Minnesota, often to California. So, the heart of our Fort Hays alumni are here in Ellis County and here in Kansas, but we travel the country and accept people's generosity.
What's your looking forward to most in your new role now as CEO, Jason?
Well, working with a great team. Lucky to come into an organization that's not broken. I've told people when they ask what to expect from us, expect the same thing you expected from us last month. We have a great system in place and a great team, and I look forward to leading them. But personally, I look forward to running the next campaign. We at Homecoming will launch the largest campaign in school history, which I'm sure Dr. Martin's told you about in the past. We'll release what that dollar number is and the initiatives for that campaign. What I can tell you today is the number one issue in every campaign we'll ever launch will be scholarships. Our students need your support. But there's some really innovative pieces to the campaign that I think will take a little bit of education so that donors understand what we're trying to do. But the heart of the campaign will always be scholarships. And that's, we'll be able to share a lot of great stories of students that have done amazing things because they were supported by private dollars.
And a direct benefit of the students at Fort Hays State. Then.
Absolutely. Tuition is going to go up. That's a fact of life. And every time it goes up, we're going to try harder to raise scholarships to outpace that tuition.
But once again, as we talked with President Martin here recently, that increase in tuition was a very insignificant, really $7 was $7.31 is the figure that I remember. So, as it compares to other universities, not only in the state but nationwide, Fort Hays is holding its own.
Absolutely. I think we went up 6%, which is the largest percentage of any of the Board of Regents institutions in Kansas. But if you look at the true dollars, we went up the least in true dollars. Because other schools are more expensive, a smaller percentage increase still means a larger dollar increase for them.
Well,
and
now
we stayed the second most affordable university in the country.
In the country,
we're
yes,
proud
indeed.
of that.
Indeed.
Definitely the most affordable in the state of Kansas.
And I know you're working to maintain that ranking as well,
Absolutely.
Jason. Well, now, you alluded to this earlier, statewide cuts in funding, initially by the tax decrease to 330,000 LLCs that was pushed through the legislature. That's impacting Fort Hays directly. The figure I heard was about $2 million in lack of funds here just in the last couple of years.
The foundation is pro-business, and we're for a growing economy. But we're also pro-education. So wherever those things intersect at the greatest revenue for Fort Hays State's wherever we sit.
That's a good place to be, Jason. Now, a lot of activity going on campus, not the least of which are the camps, of course, during the summer. The High Plains Music Camp being one of them that's going on right now, all over campus, basically. But a lot of dirt's being moved, too. What's going on?
Oh, man. I encourage everyone to come down and visit campus. There has not been this much construction on campus, I would guess, ever. We're currently building a new track and field complex south of the soccer fields. If you come down then to the football field, we're going to pave the parking lot. which I think is long overdue. Some people will be worried about parking. We will have as many parking places as we have ever had. We're going to build fraternity and sorority houses in the very north tip of Lewis Field Stadium, but I promise you we are not cutting back on parking. There'll be plenty of room to tailgate. We are building the Dane G. Hansen Scholarship Hall, which is being built totally with private dollars, which is a real anomaly, I think, that we can build a first-class residence hall with an entrepreneur focus. And we believe the next billion-dollar company may be launched through that. We hope it will. Maybe the next Apple or Microsoft gets launched by a Fort Hays student because of the environment we're going to create. Next to that, there will be a replacement building for Wiest Hall, and we look forward to naming spaces inside that building as well as other buildings. But it'll be the largest building on campus when it's done, probably the most expensive, so we might need some help naming some of those spaces. Hammond Hall, for people that haven't been back to campus in a while, has only been here a few years. Malloy Hall is having an expansion. We are building a new applied technology and sculpture building, which will replace Davis Hall. So all of those applied technology and woodworking graduates need to come back and see what a 21st century applied tech building looks like, as well as the sculptors will get to move out of Rarick Hall and move over to this new building. That'll free up space to tear down Davis Hall, replace it with a brand new art education building. That art education building will allow the art program and the graphic design program to really expand. It also allows more room in Rarick Hall for education to expand. So all of our efforts are on expansion. We know there's two ways to get through a tough economy. You can retract and be safe, or you can expand and eat up market share. We hope to grow the number of students on campus. And we're going to do that by providing more beds and providing more classroom seats so that our university continues to flourish and drive the economy of Western Kansas.
And I'm glad you brought that point up, Jason, because some people will say, the naysayers will say, well, economy, budgets, et cetera, it's not a good time to do all these new things. You say differently.
I say differently. I believe that you have to expand in this kind of environment if you're going to succeed. We know that because of cuts in state funding and increases in tuition, that tuition now is a larger part of the money that comes into Fort Hays than the state allocation is. That means, as a business, Fort Hays grows its budget when it increases students. So if we want to make up for the shortfall, one is private dollars, and that's the foundation's role. The way Fort Hays can combat that is to have more students. And the only way you have more students is to provide more space for them. So we're excited to grow through this. And I've used this analogy with a few donors that have had hesitations about all of the expansion. And I wish I knew the author of this quote, but the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. So I wish we'd have built some of these buildings 10 years ago or 5 years ago, but we didn't, so we need them now. And that, I think all you need to do is look at our football program and how it's grown, success since the indoor training facility was built. People question whether we needed that. It was built with private dollars. And I hope that I'm the president of this foundation when Coach Brown wins a national title.
That's a good goal to aspire to, I think, Jason.
I've set that goal for him, even though I have no role in setting his goals.
How would you position the Fort Hays Foundation now going forward, Jason?
I would position it as a good investment. People are always wanting to support a winner and support someone who values their contribution. We do both of those. We're very efficient in how we manage our money. A few years ago, we had the highest return of any state foundation. So we're very proud of that. We haven't had that return since then, but I don't believe anyone else has either. And I want every donor to know that their gift matters. From if you're at work on campus and you make a payroll deduction, that matters. If you are a business owner and support our community campaign, that matters. And when those tiger callers that are students here, that they're in the basement of this building at night in the fall and the spring, they make phone calls and ask donors to do what they did last year and maybe do a little more. Every one of those gifts adds up and matters. We that have the ability have the responsibility to make the world a better place. And I think you can do that through a donation to the students at Fort Hays. And
finally, Jason, your predecessor, Tim Chapman, whom you referenced earlier, was here for a decade. He's now an advisor to the foundation.
He is.
Talk about Tim for a moment.
I hope everyone knows what an amazing artist he is. And if they don't, they should come to the Robbins Center. We have a lot of his art on display, and we will have for a long time. He'll also have art displays around the country, I imagine, but definitely around Hays, Kansas. He was a mentor to me. I've learned a lot of things in 4 years that I didn't know, and I imagine that he'll teach me additional things, not just about fundraising, but about life. He's a passionate father and grandfather, talented artist, still loves to work out, and I think he's what every person in my position would hope to have in an advisor. He's a good listener, and he's passionate about our school. So I'm pleased that he's willing to stay on and help us out.
Where do we find you for the Fort Hays Foundation on the web, Jason?
You can find us at foundation.fhsu.edu. And for these building projects, I will say there will be signs up on all the fences. People want to know what they're going to look like. Those signs hopefully will have our website, but if they don't, foundation.fhsu.edu. We'll have links where you can look at the inside of the buildings, the renderings, and at some point we'll have the named spaces that people can consider making a donation to.
On behalf of our producer, Jeff Durall, I'm going to have to invite us back for that big announcement after the official announcement is made of the new project coming, and we'll explore that in greater detail.
Maybe homecoming weekend we can sit down together.
Sounds good. Jason Williby, President and CEO of the Fort Hays Foundation, our community connection.
Angels Care Home Health, serving Hays and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare-certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
And the Angel Care nurse comes to see me once a week.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible.
Angel Care has helped to stay home.
Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.